Hello everyone and welcome to another random bits and pieces segment from my brain, and today, sit a while, for we are playing some more Franchise Hockey Manager 6 as part of the Ottawa Senators. A pretty beat up Ottawa Senators team, that is. So November has not been kind to us on the health front. We've suffered a lot of injuries and everything. A lot of them are about to come back. We have Jason Spezza that's gone for most of the season. We may not even see him until the playoffs. So yeah, that's pretty rough. Again, I looked around for a trade. The game very rarely puts interesting pieces to trade. It's always, the strongest players are pretty much always hovering around 2 stars, and they are in their late 30s usually, so I'm not really interested in that. There's very rarely a player with a lot of potential. The last one I saw was Drew Doughty, and I did trade for him. I traded Nick Foligno to get him, but yeah, it's pretty rare, so I'm somebody that likes to build my team from a youth perspective, and develop the players until they are in their 30s, and then I tend to trade them. But yeah, there's really nothing there, so I don't see an opportunity for me to really make a good trade or anything like that. So we're just gonna go ahead and continue like that. I have a few ideas of maybe players that I wouldn't mind moving. We'll see once we get a little bit closer to the trade deadline, see what I can do. So with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and start December today, December of 2012. That starts with a pretty long road trip to start the month. We're gonna be on the road for almost the first 2 weeks, and then we're gonna be home all the way until Christmas. So that's pretty much what's going to be going on here. So that's gonna start in St. Louis here tomorrow. And then we're going to move on to the Western Canadian part of our trip. All right. Oh, Eugene Melnyk is only happy with my work now. He's not very happy anymore. I think he's seeing what I'm seeing, that, we're usually good, but... ... So, yeah. And we went 11-2 last month. So there's really not a whole lot of room for me to screw up with Eugene Melnyk. He's not happy. Well, doesn't matter. I can't get fired, but yeah. Alright, so we are in St. Louis. We're going to play the Blues. We have not played them so far this season. St. Louis is 8-10-2, so not a great start to the season for them. Alright, who do they have? Well, their team doesn't look too terrible. I mean, there's no, superstars or anything, but it doesn't look too terrible. So Ben Bishop and Jan Dennis. Oh, I think we played them in the off-season. I kind of remember that team. Ian Cole, Jonathan Erickson, Andy Green, Kyle Quincy, Eric Johnson, Andrew McDonald, and Roman Polak on D. Nicholas Hagman, Jay McClement, Jeff Platt, Zinoviev, Beagle, All Berglund, Mueller, Anzus, Bacchus, Eller, Simon, Pelushaj, and Lee Stempniak. Who knows, with all of our injuries, we might have problems. No, we didn't play them in the preseason. They just must be very similar to last season or something. Alright, so we're going to go with Brian Elliott in net for that game. Ben Bishop is going to be in net for the Blues. And of course, go Sens go. We won 3-2 in overtime. So yeah, wasn't an easy game there. We outshot the Blues 42-16 in that game. Braden Shen was the first star of the game. Now, of course, Braden Shen plays for the Sens in my save. When he had a goal and an assist, Ben Bishop was the second star despite the loss. He did make 40 saves, and then Lars Eller for St. Louis was the third star with a goal. Alright, so the Blues scored first in the first period, and it was 1-0 St. Louis after 1. Then they took a 2-0 lead into the second period, but Alexander Radulov scored before the end of the second. It was a power play goal from Patrice Bergeron and Braden Shen, and it was 2-1 St. Louis after 2. And then in the third period, Braden Shen scored on the power play from Erik Karlsson and Patrice Bergeron, and that would tie the game at 2. The game went into overtime, and there was a fight, but no goals. So David Backes and Zdeno Chara fought in overtime. And then, oof, that was a long... that was a long shootout. So Erik Karlsson scored, and then Zinoviev scored for St. Louis. And then there were several rounds, and then all the way down here, Zdeno Chara finally scored to give us the win in the shootout. Wow. Alright, so I have Sam Gagner that's feeling better. Come back on the roster. I'm going to send down... Nino Niederreiter, I think. Hoffman has been playing not all that great, but he's been playing. Niederreiter has pretty much warmed the bench. So he's going to go back down. Sam Gagner is back up. Alright, and now we are heading to Western Canada in 3 days, and we are going to start that against the Flames. Ooh, lots of news. Jaromir Jagr keeps fans on their feet all night. He had a hat-trick against the Stars. Pretty good game. In that same game, Crosby had 4 assists. Also a pretty good game. Suspension for David Perron playing for Montreal. He is going to miss a game. Eric Cole has scored his 300th goal in his career. He had a goal and an assist against Montreal. That's kind of funny. Eric Cole, for a while, when he was playing for Carolina, was known as an abs killer. He always seemed to play really well against Montreal and everything. By now, you probably know that I'm originally from Quebec, where a lot of people are abs fans, and I had a friend who also doesn't like the abs that actually bought a Hurricanes jersey with Cole just to piss his friends off, so that was kind of funny. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of funny that he achieved that against Montreal. So 34 years old, Eric Cole, 2.5 star talent. Strong game for Nicklas Backstrom. He had a hat-trick against the Hurricanes. Excellent passing leads to productive night for Alex Ovechkin. He had 4 assists in that same game. Alright. Ooh, Daniel Zubrus, Matthew Lombardi, and Jordan Leopold are all available on waivers. Alright, David Perron is already back from suspension, and Joe Thornton might come back soon. That would be helpful. Oh, Joe Thornton on the verge of returning. It is all so exciting. Alright, so we are in Calgary to play the Flames. Flames are doing alright. They are 11-8-2 to start the season, so that's better than last year for sure. Let's take a look at their lineup here. No injuries in Calgary, so this is their best team. It doesn't seem all that strong, but anyway. So it's still Andy in net. Craig Anderson is in net. Leland Irving is the backup. Mark Giordano, Corey Potter, TJ Brody, Tony Ludman, Nicholas Cronwall, Dion Phaneuf. It's Ryan Wilson, I think. Yep, Ryan Wilson and Maxim Noro are on D. That's a decent D. Vili Leno, Eric Nystrom, Brett Sutter, Johnny Gaudreau, Lance Boma, Cracknell Betts, Cervenka, Cabasu Thornton, Cunningham, LaRose, and Wellman. Yeah, those forwards are not all that great. So the goaltending is okay. The D is not too bad, but I have a feeling they don't score many goals. There's probably a lot of 2-1 wins on their record or something. Alright, so we're going to go with Antti Niemi for that game, and Craig Anderson is going to be in net for Calgary. And we won 4-0. So, shutout for Niemi. We outshot the Flames 33-21. Erik Karlsson was the first star of the game. He had a goal and an assist. Braden Shen was the second star with a goal and an assist as well. And Patrice Bergeron was the third star with 2 assists. Nobody scored in the first, and then we scored 3 goals in the second. Patrick Eves scored his 5th from Chris Kelly and Sam Gagner. Then Erik Karlsson also scored his 5th. His goal was on the power play from Braden Shen and Patrice Bergeron. And then Braden Shen scored his 15th goal of the season from Alex Pietrangelo and Erik Karlsson. It was 3-0 after 2. And then in the third period, Brooks Laich scored from Patrice Bergeron and Eric Condra. And it was 4-0 at that point. And that's how the game ended. So a nice little shutout. Brooks Laich is playing. I guess he's not too upset that he didn't start in the NHL or something. Alexander Sulzer is available on waivers. Matt Cook has recorded 1,000 games played in his career. Didn't get a point. That happened against Carolina. Matt Cook, 34 years old, 1.5-star player. Strong night for Jaromir Jagr in that same game. He had 4 assists against Carolina. And David Desharnais had 4 goals and an assist. Wow. In that same game. And Crosby had 2 goals and 4 assists. So there you go. Ossi Vananen in Tampa Bay is back from suspension. Back in the lineup. Alright. Pavel Datsyuk is getting close to be back. And Joe Thornton is back. Good. Alright, and we are in Edmonton now to play against the Oilers. Now, for the Oilers, it's not looking too good so far. They are 6-13-4. Alright, so, well, in net it shouldn't be a problem. They have Devan Dubnyk. Oh god, is it Brad? Is his first name? Yeah, Brad Thiessen. Sorry. We don't do the TH sound in French, so sometimes I stumble through it. Taylor Chornay, Theo Peckham, James Wisniewski, Denis Grebeshkov, Matt Green, and Sean O'Donnell on D. Sean O'Donnell is 41. He's still going. Yeah, that D is not too extraordinary good. Taylor Hall, Ever Listen, Neil Yakupov, Miroslav Shatan, Ryan Smith, Andrew Cogliano, Nugent Hopkins, Brodziak, Stoll, Orkov, Bochinski, Shimmer, Eberle, Shrimp, and Abdelkader. That offense is pretty good. So the goaltending, when Dubnyk is in net, should be fine. Then they have a decent offense, but that D. So basically close to what the Oilers are in real life. Alright, so we have Antti Niemi in net again. Why not? He had a shutout in his last game. And Devan Dubnyk is going to be in net for the Oilers. And we lost 4-3. So the Oilers outscored us. Oh, they were running with us all game long. We outshot them, but 38-35. It's pretty rare that it's that close. Matt Green was the first star of the game for Edmonton. He had a goal and an assist. Patrick Eves was the second star. He had a goal and an assist as well. And James Wisniewski was the third star with 2 assists. So Edmonton scored first in the first period, then Braden Shen scored on the power play from Patrice Bergeron and Eric Carlson. It was tied at 1, and then Patrick Eves from Chris Kelly and David Legwan, 2-1 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Edmonton tied the game, and then Eric Carlson gave us the lead back 16 seconds later. From Chris Kelly and Patrick Eves, but then by the end of near the end of the period, Edmonton tied the game again, and it was tied at 3 after 2. And in the third period, early, Kyle Brodziak scored. It was 4-3 Edmonton, and little did he know that was a game winner. Nobody else scored. We lost this game 4-3 in Edmonton. Alright, strong night for Nazem Kadri with Toronto. He had a hat-trick against the Hurricanes. Always seems like the good offensive performances are against the poor Hurricanes. They are so bad. I almost feel bad for them. Yeah, they still haven't gotten a point at this, since the start of December. Wow, they have played a lot more games than everybody else too. That's the even sadder, I guess. Like they are 9 points back on the Jets, and they have played 6 more games. Wow, it's pretty bad. All right, so we're heading to Vancouver to finish up our Western Canadian trip there. Patrick Kane not suspended. He's been looked at, but no suspension for him. And Pavel Datsyuk is very close to be back. That's good. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play in Vancouver. They are 7-18-1 now. We did play them last month, and we beat them 4-1. So let's see if we can beat them on the road as well. So we're going back to Brian Elliott for that game. Eddie Lack is going to be in net for Vancouver. And we won 4-2. So back on the winning side of things. So Alexander Radulov was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. What's his name? Shirakov. Is it Sergei? It is. Sergei Shirakov is the second star for Vancouver. He had an assist, and Zach Smith was the third star with 2 assists. We outshot Vancouver 47-22 in that game. So Vancouver scored first, and it was 1-0 Vancouver after 1. Then we scored in the second period. Alexander Radulov scored on the power play from Alex Pietrangelo and Brooks Laich. It was tied at 1 after 2. Then there were many goals scored. Well, 4 goals scored in the third period. So Braden Shen scored from Alex Pietrangelo and Eric Carlson. Then Alexander Radulov scored his 5th from Eric Carlson, and Zach Smith made it 3-1. Vancouver scored to reduce the lead to 3-2. And then Lucas Bisa scored in an empty net with 4 seconds left in the game from Sam Gagner and Zach Smith. 4-2 was the final score. Oh boy, okay, so we lost Zdeno Chara, but he's only out for 4 days with a broken tooth, so that shouldn't be too bad. And then Braden Shen scored in 5 straight games now, so he's starting to blossom into a pretty good player. Not that I ever doubted that it was going to happen, but it is happening right now. Like last year he was playing, but he wasn't like getting that many points or anything, but this year he's rolling. Alright, and now we have one more road game in 3 days. It's going to be in Buffalo to wrap up that road trip, and then we're going to be home for a while. John Tavares is not suspended with the Islanders, and Datsyuk is ready to come back in the lineup. So let's accommodate that. I think it's time for Mike Hoffman to go back in the minors. There you go. Alright, so Ben Ferrero is available on waivers. Strong game for Josh Bailey with the Islanders. He had a hat-trick against the Wings. Oh, sorry, Josh Bailey is not with the Islanders in my save. He's with Boston. My apologies. I shouldn't be assuming things. Alright, so we are in Buffalo. We're going to play against the Sabres. Now, Buffalo is having a decent season so far. I know they've had a few pretty rough seasons in the past, but it looks better this season. They are 14-11 so far this year. That's our first matchup with them. Chris Tanev is not going to be playing this game. He is on injured reserve. Right, so in net it's Ben Scrivens and Tim Thomas. Then on D they have Michael Roosevelt, Johnny Oduya, Andre Sekera, Brian Campbell, Tyler Myers, and TJ Brennan. Then Marcus Foligno, Daniel Payet, Drew Stafford, Thomas Vanek, Nathan Gerby, Patrick Marleau, Torrey Mitchell, Scotty Upshall, Derek Roy, Colin Wilson, Clark MacArthur, Travis Moen, Jason Bowmanville, Brian Flynn, and Zach Cashin. Yeah, the team's not too terrible. It's not super great either. They might fall off after a while there. I don't know. So Brian Elliott is going to be in net for us. They are going with Tim Thomas. And we won 4-1. We outshot the Sabres 50-15. Drew Doughty was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Erik Karlsson was the second star with 2 assists. And Joe Thornton was the third star with 2 assists as well. So Drew Doughty opened up the scoring in the first period from Patrick Werkach and Braden Shen. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Drew Doughty scored on the power play from Erik Karlsson and Joe Thornton and made it 2-0 after 2. And then in the third period, Alex Pietrangelo scored from Erik Karlsson and Joe Thornton, and then Lucas Bisa from David Legwan and Chris Kelly made it 4-0. And then Buffalo scored with 4:30 to go in the period, and because of that, we did not get a shutout. Alright, so nice little victory in Buffalo, and now we're going to go back. We're going to be going back. Oh, Moskars Bartulis is available on waivers. Brad Marchand is back from suspension with Boston. Andrew Shaw with Chicago got hurt. He's going to miss 5 months with a torn back muscle. Yikes. And Shaw is already back. He got his broken tooth fixed. Right, and then tomorrow we are starting a lengthy homestand against the Rangers. It's already going to be our game number 3 against them. Alright, so Alexander Semin got suspended in St. Louis. He's going to miss 5 games. Alright, Rangers in town. They are still not doing very good. They are 8-19-1. That's good for 13th in the East. We are 2-0 against the Rangers this season. Henrik Lundqvist is going to be in net for the Rangers. Antiniemi is going to be in net for us. Ooh, yeah, we won 8-0. So we outshot the Rangers 41-18. Alexander Radulov was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Pavel Datsyuk was the second star with 2 goals. And Chris Kelly was the third star with a goal and an assist. 18,333 people came to the first game in Ottawa in 2 weeks or so. Alex Pietrangelo opened up the scoring in the first period from Erik Karlsson and Petrus Bergeron. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then we scored 5 goals in the second period. So Pavel Datsyuk scored from Patrick Wirkoch and Eric Condra. Then Chris Kelly from Alexander Radulov. Martin Ansel scored his 5th goal of the season from Braden Chen and Sam Gagner. Then Zdeno Chara from Patrick Eves and Patrick Wirkoch. And then Pavel Datsyuk scored his 5th from Petrus Bergeron and Eric Condra. It was 6-0 Sens after 2. And then we just continued the humiliation in the third period. Alexander Radulov scored from Chris Kelly and Zdeno Chara, and then Radulov again from Braden Chen, and it was 8-0, and that's how that game ended, and it didn't end fast enough for the poor Rangers. Right, Tim Jackman is, they waived Tim Jackman after that game. Phil Kessel has had a great game. He had a hat trick against Pittsburgh. Right, and we are about to host the Los Angeles Kings. So Ryan Parent, Freddie Meyer, and Semyon Varlamov. God, I wish I could claim him. But I can't. I'm not gonna buy out a contract, just that's not very realistic, so I'm not gonna do that. Alright. Yeah, Semyon Varlamov maybe finished in Washington, has been waived. I know a couple teams that could use him. There's a few teams out there that have terrible goaltending. Red Wings players are unhappy with ice quality. According to a local beat reporter's unnamed source, multiple Detroit players have approached management to voice concerns about the condition of the Central Division team's ice. The players met together in a private meeting before the team's practice and appointed an unnamed player to meet with owner Mike Ilitch and head coach Brian Murray to hear complaints about the ice surface's upkeep. Apparently, the meeting's result was not satisfactory to the players, and it is questionable if it will hurt the third-place team's morale. A little bit of turmoil in Detroit over the quality of the ice. And then there's been a trade between Dallas and San Jose. Alright, so Jamie McGinn and Derek Jocelyn are going to Dallas for Tim Stapleton and Jay Harrison. Yeah, I think Dallas got the best of that trade. Personally, that's how I feel. I think Jamie McGinn is a better player than Tim Stapleton, so... Alright, and Ellie is in town. So the Kings are doing pretty good. They are 18-9-2, so that's a pretty good record. Let's see what they have. Alright, so Brendan Bell and Lubomir Vyshnovsky are both hurt and not gonna play. So that's two D-man, so their D might be looking a little shaky. Alright, so Jonathan Bernier and Jonathan Quick are in net for the Kings. That should be plenty good enough. Andre Mazzaros, now Ellie King, Thomas Hickey, Kevin Bieksa, Paul Martin, Vyacheslav Voinov, and Doug Janik. Now keep in mind a couple of those players probably shouldn't be playing right now because Brendan Bell and Wisniewski are hurt. Kyle Clifford, Michael Camilleri, is it DJ King? Dwight King, sorry. Tanner Pearson, Jesse Schultz, Tyler Bozak, Brian Boyle, Kopitar Lewis, Kaspar, Wilsey Brown, Belanger Foligno, and Wayne Simmons. Yeah, it's a pretty good team, I suppose. When they have all of their best D playing, it's a pretty well-rounded team. So yeah, they have a pretty good record to show for it. I wonder if Varlamov is going to get claimed. Alright, so Quick in net for the Kings, Antiniemi in net for us. And we won 3-0, so 2 shutouts in a row for Antiniemi. We outshot the Kings 30-15. Alex Pietrangelo was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Patrice Bergeron was the second star with a goal and an assist. And Chris Kelly was the third star with a goal. 15,999 people in attendance for the game. Sam Gunny opened up the scoring in the first period, assisted by Joe Thornton and Brooks Like. It was 1-0 Sens after 1. Then in the second period, Patrice Bergeron scored from Eric Carlson and Alex Pietrangelo, 2-0 Sens after 2. And then Chris Kelly scored with 1 second left to go in the third period. That was his 5th of the season. And in an empty net from Alex Pietrangelo and Patrice Bergeron. And 3-0 was the final score. So another pretty good game here. Oh, yay. Alright, so Patrick Eaves is sidelined with a strain growing, so the injury bug is not leaving us alone. So Patrick Eaves is out for 3 weeks. And Eric Carlson extends his assist streak to 8 games in that game, so that's good. At least there's some positive news going on. Who am I going to recall here? Oh, Cole Schneider. Sorry, I know I'm quiet, as I always am when I'm looking at who to call back up. Right, I'm getting Kaspars Dagovins up. We'll see what he can do. He did play some games with the Sens in real life around that time frame, around 2012, so... Fernando Pisani is available on waivers. Vili Peltonen has recorded 1,250 games played in his career, so he's still playing with the Islanders. Now, he played for the Sens a long time ago, but he's been with the Islanders for a while. So he didn't get any point that happened against the Wild, and he is 39 and still a 2-star player. Yeah, that's good. So the Hurricanes picked up Semyon Varlamov, so that's how you start getting better, by getting some goaltending. So hopefully they can build off of that and start building a little bit of a better team, because they are ridiculously bad. Alright, and I need to give a number to Kaspars Dagovins. Here, 20. Alright, so we have a little bit of a break, and then we're going to be hosting the Montreal Canadiens. Strong game for Drew Miller. He had a hat-trick against the Rangers. Good night for Sidney Crosby. He had 3 goals and 3 assists against the Devils. Yeah, that would be a pretty good game. Anthony Stewart is suspended in Florida. He's going to miss 6 games. Oh, Daniel Sedin has scored 400 goals in his career. Got 2 goals and an assist against San Jose. 32 years old, Daniel Sedin, still a 5-star player. Alright, and the Abs are in town, so we are going to be playing against Montreal. Montreal is 21-10, which is good for 5th in the East. We are 0-1 against Montreal this season. We lost, I believe it was in the shootout against them earlier this season. Alright, so Carey Price is going to be in net for Montreal. We are going to Antiniemi. He has a few shutouts in a row. And we lost 4-2. Alright. We have problems with the Abs. They also outshot us 37-29. Adam Henrique was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Brooks Like was the second star with an assist. And Sean Bergenheim was the third star with an assist. 18,857 people were in the attendance. Right, nobody scored in the first period, and then Montreal took a 2-0 lead into the second period, and 37 seconds before the end of the period, Kaspars Daugavin scored a goal right after his call-up from Drew Doughty. It was 2-1, Montreal after 2. Then at the start of the third period, the Montreal scored, made it 3-1, and then Joe Thornton scored, assisted by Brooks Like, made it 3-2. But then shortly after, Montreal scored again, made it 4-2, and we never recovered from that. We couldn't tie the game, and we lost. Eric Carson's assist streak ended at 8 games with this game. Didn't get an assist against Montreal. And Roman Josi converts to right defense. Alright, so we have 5 games left here in December. Almost all home games save for one. Alright, so in a couple of days we are going to be hosting the Florida Panthers. John Madden has recorded 500 assists in his career. He had an assist against Philadelphia. So 39 years old, John Madden, still a 2.5-star player. There was no stopping Jacob Voracek, who is still in Columbus in my save. He had 3 goals and an assist against Colorado. Alright, so Ilya Kovalchuk is not suspended in Winnipeg. John Tavares has a good game. He had 3 goals and an assist against Detroit. Pretty good game. Strong game for Taylor Hall, who also had a hat-trick against Buffalo. Alright, and Florida's in town. So Florida is doing pretty good. They are 19-10-1. That's good for 3rd in the East. They are atop of their division. And we are 1-0 against Florida this season. They're going to send Carter Hutton in net. We're going to go back to Brian Elliott. And we won 4-1. We outshot Florida 34-22. Pavel Datsyuk was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Petrus Bergeron was the second star, with an assist. And Drew Doughty was the 3rd star with an assist as well. 17,042 people in attendance for this game. Pavel Datsyuk opened up the scoring in the first period from Zdeno Char and Drew Doughty. And then Florida tied the game at 1. So it was 1-1 after 1. And then in the second period, Pavel Datsyuk scored again from Patrick Werkach. And then Eric Carson from Chris Kelly made it 3-1 Sens after 2. There was a fight between Zach Smith and Tanner Glass. And then in the third period, Brooks Like scored short-handed from Petrus Bergeron, made it 4-1, and that was it. We won a nice little game, 4-1 here. And then Pavel Datsyuk got hurt again. Oh god, for 5 months too? Wow, so him and Jason Spitz are pretty much done for the season. I might have to make a move, actually. Might have to go get some offensive help here. A ruptured Achilles. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try and make a move after this video. I'm gonna finish the month. There's 4 games left, and then I think, Spezza and Datsyuk out. That's like 2/3 of my first line. Oof, That's rough. That's rough, man. That's rough. All right. Who do we get this time? Alright, let's get Jacob Silverberg. I liked him. I was always sad that we traded him. And it has nothing to do with, you know, how Bobby Ryan turned out or anything like that. It's no ill will towards Bobby Ryan. He had so many hand injuries that it obviously affected his play and everything. And of course, you know, what came to light this year as well. But I just like Jacob Silverberg. But, yeah. We traded him away. Alright, so great night for James Van Riemsdyk, who had a hat-trick against the Devils. Alexander Semin is back from suspension in St. Louis. Alright, Patrick Eaves might come back soon. And Jacob Silverberg would like to have number 33, but I have Zdeno Chara with that number, so you are going to get number... I'm going to give you number 18 for now. Alright. Oh, Mark Streit in New Jersey is hurt. He's going to miss 6 months due to a ruptured tricep tendon. Well, there's a lot of injuries in the league, apparently. Cam Paddock is not suspended with the Hurricanes. Alright, and now we are going to be playing against the Flyers. Now, the Flyers are really good. They are 24-7-1. That's good for 4th in the East, only because Pittsburgh is even better. Otherwise, if the standings were just, you know, by points, they would be 2nd in the East. No, sorry. Yeah, 2nd. And we are 0-1 against the Flyers this season. They did beat us in Philadelphia earlier. So I don't know how that's going to turn out now with all of my injuries. Alright, well, let's go for it. So Sergei Bobrovsky is going to be in net for the Flyers. He's back. He was hurt last time we played them. Then Brian Elliott is going to be in net for us. We won 4-0. Wow. Okay. We outshot the Flyers 40-21. Brooks Laich was the first star of the game. He had 2 assists. Petrus Bergeron was the second star with 2 assists as well. And Alex Pietrangelo was the third star with 2 goals. 17,734 people were in the stands for this game. Right, nobody scored in the first period. Then in the second, Zach Smith scored from Zdeno Chara and Drew Doughty, made it 1-0 Sens. And then in the third period, Braden Shen scored on the power play from Eric Carlson and Petrus Bergeron. Then Alex Pietrangelo scored from Brooks Laich and Eric Condra. And Pietrangelo scored again from Brooks Laich and Petrus Bergeron, made it 4-0 Sens. And that's how it ended. So a little bit of a surprise victory. Philadelphia is really strong, especially by shutout. And we have all of those key injuries. Zach Smith converts to right wing. Alright. And it is Christmas. Lots of news for Christmas. Ryan Getzlaf extends his assist streak to 8 games. He had 2 assists against Chicago. There was no stopping Roman Cervenka in Calgary. He had 4 goals and an assist against Edmonton. Wow. Memorable night for Thomas Vanek. He had 4 assists against Colorado. And Tuukka Rask in Washington has a bruised calf. He's only going to miss 3 days. Nothing to be alarmed about. Alright, and in a couple days we're going to go ahead and play in Boston against the Bruins. Alright, we are in Boston. Bruins are having a pretty decent season. They are 18-10-5. That's good for 6th in the East. We are 1-0 against Boston this season. And Brian Elliott is going to be in net for us. Ryan Miller is going to be in net for the Bees. And we lost 3-2. Alright, so we outshot Boston 43-23. Kirill Kolstov was the first star with a game. He had a goal and an assist. Erik Karlsson was the second star with a goal, and Ryan Miller was the third star with 41 saves. So Erik Karlsson opened up the scoring in the first period. That was a power play goal from Patrice Bergeron. But then, much later, Boston tied the game, and it was tied at 1 after 1. Then nobody scored in the second period, and in the third, Boston took a 2-1 lead, but 4 seconds later, Drew Doughty scored his 5th to tie the game from Alexander Radulov and Joe Thornton, and then 12 seconds after that, Boston took the lead again. 3-2 was the score, and that stuck. So we lost 3-2. So there were 3 goals scored in 16 seconds. In the third period. Lots of emotions to go through if you're a fan at that game. Don't have a lot of time to process anything. Alright, great night for Victor Edmond. He had 4 assists against Florida. Pretty good game. Ryan Getzlaf extends his assist streak to 9 games with an assist against the Sharks. Right, we're going back home for 2 games in 2 nights against Toronto and Detroit. Maybe Detroit players are gonna like the ice in Ottawa better. Suspension for Detroit's Kevin Dahlman is going to miss 1 game. Jerome McGinley has produced 500 goals in his career. He had a goal and 2 assists against Columbus. Jerome McGinley is 35, still a 2.5-star player, and still in Dallas, was never traded. Mike Camilleri has a strong game in LA. He had a hat-trick against the Coyotes. Alright, Toronto is in town. They are 13-18-1. That's good for 11th in the East. We are 2-0 against the Leafs this season. They're going to go with Jonas Gustafsson in net. We are going to Antsiniemi. We lost 5-4. Oh, we couldn't afford to lose that game. Alright, so we outshot Toronto 54-20. Petteri Nummelen was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals and an assist. Erik Karlsson was the second star with a goal and 2 assists. And Brad Boyes was the third star with a goal. 18,361 people in attendance for this game. Brooks Laich opened up the scoring in the first from Erik Karlsson and Alex Pietrangelo. Then Toronto scored twice, and then Lucas Bisa scored from Patrice Bergeron. It was tied at 2 after 1. Bunch of penalties too in the first period. Then Toronto scored in the second, made it 3-2. Then at the start of the third, Patrice Bergeron scored his 10th from Erik Karlsson and Brooks Laich, tied the game at 3. But then Toronto scored, made it 4-3. Then Erik Karlsson scored from Chris Kelly and Alexander Radulov to tie the game again. But then Toronto scored, made it 5-4, and we just didn't have it in us to tie the game. So we lost 5-4. Marcus Kruger in Chicago is suspended. He's going to miss 6 games. Right, and Detroit is now in town for the final game of December for us. Detroit is 18-12-4. We have not played the Wings this season, so we're going to take a look at their lineup. So, Johan Franzen is hurt, he may or may not play, and Kevin Dahlman has not served his suspension yet, so he is going to miss this game. Alright, so Jimmy Howard and Peter Mrazek on in net. That's going to be pretty good. Dahlman, Alec Martinez, Aaron Rome, Hutchinson, Gunnarsson, and Kindle on D. David Booth, Franzen, Pesonen, Klo, Brule, Chipchura, Emerton, Helm, Matthias, Nyquist, Mersak, Adler, Zetterberg, Skelly, and Damian Brunner. Yeah, that's not a bad team. We're going to need to be on our toes, and that's not going to be easy with the injuries we have. So Jimmy Howard is going to be in net for Detroit. We are going with Brian Elliott. We won 3-0. All right, good. A good end to the month. We outshot Detroit 34-22. Brooks Laich was the first star of the game. He had 2 goals. Eric Condra was the second star with an assist, and Patrice Bergeron was the third star with an assist as well. 18,566 people in attendance for the game. Brooks Laich opened up the scoring in the first. That was his 5th from Patrice Bergeron and Roman Josi. Then Zdeno Chara from Eric Condra and Zach Smith, and it was 2-0 Sens after 1. And then in the second period, Brooks Laich scored short-handed from Braden Chen, made it 3-0 Sens after 2. Then there was a fight as well in the second period between Zdeno Chara and Kyle Chipchura. But that was pretty much it. A little 3-0 victory to end the month of December. And Kevin Dahlmans is going to be back in the lineup for the Wings. Alright, so we're going to sim all the way to January 1st. Johnny Gaudreau extends his goal streak to 5 games. He had 2 goals and an assist against the Sharks. Anthony Stewart back in the lineup in Florida. He served his suspension. Ryan O'Reilly is going to miss 2 weeks in Colorado. A rotator cuff strain. Ryan Getzlaf extends his assist streak to 10 games with an assist against the Kings. Alright, and the player poll results. We have 3 players in there. That's pretty good. So the best skater is Patrick Kane. Hardest shot, Erik Karlsson. Smartest, Pavel Datsyuk. Toughest, Fraser McLaren. Fastest, Patrick Kane. Best role model, Jay Boomister. Cleanest, Nick Leddy. Toughest goalie to beat, Brian Elliott. And the coach you'd most like to play for, Joel Quenneville, still with the Wild. Alright, and one more click. Here we go. Alexander Perezogin is available on waivers. Alright. Alright, and the players of the month of December were Sidney Crosby and Corey Crawford. Alright, so we have injuries, and I think I might do something to address that. Now, what it will be, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm gonna look at options. I'm gonna do that offline, prior to shooting the next video. And of course, as usual, I'm gonna show you the results and what's my reasoning behind making the moves. But yeah, I can tell you that the reasoning is gonna be to try to patch holes in my offense, because that's two very good players that we've lost there. Of course, I'm not going to be able to replace those with the same level of talent, but getting somebody that can produce some points is probably going to be a priority for me. So we are second in the East, only 2 points ahead of Montreal, but we do have 1 game on hand, so we'll see what happens with that. Now let's take a look in the West. Oh, Carolina won a game in December. Look at them. Did it pay off to get Varlamov or what? Alright, so in the West, Chicago's first, LA, Calgary, Nashville, San Jose, Anaheim, Detroit, and Colorado. Oh, it's pretty tight. Like, even Dallas, Columbus, and Minnesota are like right there. So nothing has been decided, that's for sure. Alright, let's take a look at our stats. I wonder if, with all the injuries and everything, I'm pretty sure Braden Shen is still our best player. Yeah, Braden Shen, 34 points in 35 games. Patrice Bergeron, 33 in 35. Carlson, 32 in 30. So he's a point per game. Then there's a pretty big drop-off after that, of course, because I have injuries right now. So, yeah. And then let's take a look in the league. Sidney Crosby still the best goal scorer in the league with 29 goals. He's also the best passer with 42 assists, so obviously he's the best scorer with 71 points. Second closest is his teammate Jaromir Jagr. He's at 58. So yeah, there's quite a bit here going on, but I think the important part is that we're well positioned, and we're going to try to address what the game has thrown at us. So I've been kind of waiting for that to happen for a while, where injuries would kind of force my hand to do something. It hasn't really happened, but right now it's going to be necessary to make a move. At least that's how I feel. So expect the team to be at least slightly different next time that you watch this. And of course, when we do, it's going to be 2013, so getting closer and closer to real life dates. Alright, so that's going to be it for the video today, folks. As usual, I do want to thank you for tuning in, and if you've liked the video, please feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment, all of that good stuff. And until I roll this game again, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.